This is the Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show.
Well, no UNLV football game this weekend. The Rebels' last home game of the season canceled against Boise State based on guidance from medical personnel and epidemiologists to protect the health and safety of the players. The Rennan Rebels clinched their first win of the season last night against Kansas State. David Jenkins Jr. put up his best game with UNLV so far this season, and Lindsay LaRocque coached against her alma mater, number 2 Stanford, this weekend, a matchup she wasn't expecting so early in her career at UNLV. Hey everyone, welcome into the RebZone. Lots of hoops action this week and lots to catch up on with Coach Arroyo on having their second game of the season canceled due to COVID-19 and how his team had to flip the script again midweek and start preparing for their final game of the season next Saturday in Hawaii. Well, since we have no UNLV game to go over, let's see how Hawaii played against an undefeated San Jose State team yesterday. The Rainbow Warriors were coming off a big win against Reno, handing the Wolfpack their first loss of the season. But Hawaii came out flat in this game. Spartans' Nick Starkel, easy money to Isaiah Holiness. San Jose State on the board first. Later, a handoff to Tyler Nevins. Pace, 72 yards to the house. San Jose State up 14-zip. Starkel to the same dude. Nevins, touchdown. Hawaii defense, where you at, bro? Rainbow Warriors later kick a field goal, and it's 21-3 Spartans. Rough first quarter for Hawaii. Second quarter, Starkel, pass intercepted by Isaiah Tufaga. That'll later set up this. Siobhan Cordero with a dart to Day Hunter. Hawaii trails 21-10. 25 seconds left in the second. Cordero slings it. Just a little overthrown, picked off by Jay Leonard. Third quarter, he would make it up with this. Touchdown pass to Rico Bussey. Rainbow Warriors now trail 21-17. Later in the third, Starkel hands it off to Kerry Robinson. Touchdown. Spartans rolling. Fourth quarter, Starkel over the middle. Trey Walker turns on the Jets. That dude is so fast, you can't even see his feet. Spartans up 35-17. 2:32 left in the ball game. Cordero looking for his guy, takes it in himself. 5th rushing touchdown of the season for Hawaii's quarterback. And that would be it for the Rainbow Warriors, 35-24. San Jose State remains undefeated. Hawaii falls to 3-4 this season.
We absolutely, that was very disappointing. That was a very disappointing football game. We did a poor job of getting the guys ready. We absolutely played the worst that we played the entire season defensively in the first quarter. Simple zone plays, simple seam patterns. I mean, we just did a very, very poor job. It's very, very disappointing to be one week to play at one level and then the next week to play like that. So I thought we took a giant step forward last week, giant step backward today. So it's frustrating, very, very frustrating. We got a lot of work to do to get better. It can't be that inconsistent, play one way one week and then play like that the next week. And so we got a lot of work to do. Got to go to work. Got one more week to play, get ready for UNLV, and we've got to get better and build on a positive note next week.
We now welcome Coach Arroyo to the RebZone. Coach, no game this week, but your team has dealt with adversity all year long. You're playing a season, you're not playing a season. You're playing Boise State on Friday. You guys aren't playing Boise State on Friday. What were your players' reaction to the news this week about not playing on Friday?
Well, I mean, disappointed not to have the opportunity to compete, to gain reps, continue to learn about each other in the best environment we have, which is a game environment, But like you said from the beginning, these guys understand the health and safety of our players and staff is the first and foremost of our priority. So some of those things are out of our control. And so we've got to be able to adapt. We accept the following recommendations from our doctor and our health officials who work tirelessly in this pandemic. I mean, both for our bubble and the public. And so, they're the two champions in this thing. I know that us being disappointed about not being able to play, but I mean, I'm just, and I got to step back every time they come out and run out to practice to give me an update because I just want to keep practicing. But they're doing a phenomenal job. But again, disappointed, but we got a chance to pivot and get a little bit of work in that day and the next, and kind of move forward into this final week.
I know it's not, I don't hope this is ever becoming normal of games getting canceled midweek and flipping the script midweek. But did you feel like, okay, we've done this before, like, let's just move on to Hawaii? Did it feel a little bit more like you guys were prepared? Is that even the right word?
Yeah, I mean, I said before, 2020 has provided countless situations that we as a team and community and city and program and families, we've all had to endure. And we've had to do it with class and grace and empathy and toughness and empathy. And I think having those conversations about how we do those things, it's allowed us all to prepare a little bit differently. I think in football and life differently. Right, wrong, or indifferent, we're all paying close attention to day-to-day operations more and changes more inherently. It's hard for our morale. It's hard for everybody. It's hard for everyone, that's for sure. I just keep preaching to guys that we need to keep magnifying our perspective in life and making sure we value the habits and traits and characteristics and raise the toughness and resiliency and work ethic in football and life. And so I think as much as you may say, hey, well, we had this happen to us before. Yeah, we have. And are we prepared? I think, our guys right now are in such a stage right now this year where, and everyone is just, we got to be ready to pivot. And I'm proud of them for doing that. I'm proud for our staff for doing that and everyone who's provided the opportunity for us to even have the chance to do that.
Last game of the season, last game for your seniors. What are you telling your team this week? Well,
you just got to finish. It's just an opportunity that provides itself another chance to get out there and work together, and finish. They got finals this week too. And so one of the key pillars of our program is the academic integrity. And so they were set back a little bit the other day when I jumped on them a little bit about how important these academic windows are and how the mandatory time with our academic counselor, David Wedley, who's an awesome job, is. And I shouldn't say they were put back a little bit, but that's the reality of it. It's finals week. It's not a joke. It's a serious deal for us. We've done a great job academically in regards to how we've had to deal and manipulate this academic calendar, and those guys have done a phenomenal job. For everyone in the program, seniors included, and everyone, this is the final week, and I promise to them that I'll hold them accountable to themselves for building some great habits about finishing things through the line, and being different and being rare. A lot of people want to pull the plug in a lot of times on the stretch run and in situations where it may be a little bit turbulent, and those guys know I'm not letting them off the hook.
Well, on to Hawaii. I watched their game yesterday against San Jose State. Their head coach, after the game, said that was one of their worst defensively their worst performances this season. Their guys are going to be hungry for a win. Your guys are going to be hungry for a win. How do you guys stop the Rainbow Warriors in Honolulu next Saturday?
Well, first of all, they played a very good football team. So, they played a 5-0 San Jose State team. That's a very good football program that's been doing the thing for a minute. We've seen that. But they're a good football program. U of H is a very good football team. My buddy Nick Rovich didn't go to the Power 5 and Pac-12 job, not having done a fantastic job in recruiting and coaching. And so there's a very good culture in place there that they're accustomed to. They're going to be playing hard at home. And we need to play good football in all three phases and continue to improve and do the things that win. And I think those things need to find a way to come to fruition. And I'm excited for our guys to get a full week of work here together and try to close this thing out.
Has anything changed in your quarterback room? Any updates on Justin Rogers and rotating Brumfield and Gillum? Kind of give us an update on the quarterbacks.
Yeah, those guys are all continue to work hard. Justin's still working through some kinks, but Max and Doug are doing a great job these last few days working together and getting out there. So I envision rotation unless something happens this week that would change it.
Well, you might see me sneak onto the plane next Saturday. I am needing a vacation. Everyone is needing a vacation. But kind of talk to us about your trip to Hawaii with all the COVID-19 protocols. Are you guys literally just flying there, playing a game, quarantining in the hotel room, and leaving?
Yeah, well, the biggest thing for Hawaii is a little bit different for us is just and this is the behind the scenes things that a lot of people don't understand. You got 150 to 165 people about to get on a plane that have to do all the stuff to get an aircraft carrier turned is basically the analogy I use when you're moving a football team. It's a lot of moving pieces. There's a million moving pieces. And so one of the things behind the scene for this trip is that everybody on the trip has to have a traveler profile to go into that state. And so you have to build an online traveler profile for every person on the plane, and they've got to have a negative test turned in and applied to that traveler profile. No different than when you travel, if you travel for a vacation or whatever you do out of the country, whatever. So that's really the big. It's just a lot of work behind the scenes that our DFO and everybody who helps get that thing organized has to go. So these aren't vacations. No, there's no beach time here. We're flying in Friday night. I think we land about 9 o'clock. I want to eat, get to bed, wake up. We play that next night and then get back. So get in there, a little night mission, and try to put our best foot forward.
And coming up next on the RebZone, the Runnin' Rebels were all over the country this week. They played in the Maui Invitational in Asheville, North Carolina. Then they wrapped up their week at Kansas State, got their first dub of the season against the Wildcats. We got a million games to go over next, or just 4, but who's counting? Basketball season is here. We'll catch up with the Runnin' Rebels next. Well, it was a busy week for the Runnin' Rebels all over the country, from North Carolina to Kansas. They started the week off with the Maui Invitational, not in Maui this year, but the guys right here hope they still got to keep that surfboard, right? Pretty cool, huh? I'll have to ask Coach Otzelberger if I can borrow that thing sometime. Well, let's start with their performance in the Maui Invitational, which was played in Asheville, North Carolina this year. UNLV opened up to 14th ranked North Carolina, and although the Runnin' Rebels jumped out to a 13-0 lead, UNLV struggled in the second half, only shooting 16% from the field. UNLV made just 3 of 21 three-point shots in the second half as UNC pulled away with a big win, 78-51. Then it was on to Alabama on Tuesday night. This was the Caleb Grill game. The Iowa State transfer went off, scoring a career-high 27 points. The Grill was lighting it up from the three-point line, hitting 7 3 balls. But even with the Grill on fire, Alabama still outscored the Runnin' Rebels in the second half, dunking on them, taking the game 86-74. UNLV still looking for a win in the Maui Invitational as they wrapped it up with Davidson. The Runnin' Rebels put up a fight in this game. Bryce Hamilton putting up a game-high 27 points. David Jenkins Jr. added 18. UNLV cut their 14-point deficit in the second half to just 3 points with 5 minutes to go, but came up short at the end, losing to Davidson, a close one, 77-73. So the Rebels would leave the Maui Invitational winless and hungry with a chip on their shoulder when they arrived at Kansas State this weekend. This was David Jenkins Jr.'s best game of the season. The South Dakota State transfer finished with 7 three-pointers and a season-high 25 points. Bryce Hamilton added 18 against the Wildcats. Jenkins, Hamilton, and Caleb Grill, these guys combined to rack up 55 of UNLV's 68 points, clinching their first win of the season, 68-58 against Kansas State. And this was UNLV's first game of the season, shooting 50% or better from the field. The Runnin' Rebels relieved and happy to come home with a win.
We're a new team. We're still building our team chemistry and camaraderie at the end of the day. Practice only goes a long way. We still had to build our chemistry throughout the whole, throughout these couple of games. And I just feel like that's something that this win tonight was something to build on. We're obviously happy, but we know we're not satisfied. We're going to go out and try to get the next win, and we're going to try to build on this. I really like these guys because it's easy for a team when adversity hits to kind of splinter and blame each other. But at the end of the day, I feel like even though we lost our first couple of games, we were still together as a team, and we were coming together and giving positive energy throughout the whole team. There's a reference we use, and it's called be a vitamin C to your teammates, not a germ. And I just feel like we have a bunch of guys with great character, and guys who ultimately send positive message to each other overall.
And it's not just the upperclassmen making an impact. Jenkins Jr. says the team relies on their 7 new freshmen to step up and perform.
From Nick Blake, Devin Tillis, from the guys on the bench who are, the guys, I just feel like the guys who aren't even getting in the game, they're bringing positive energy to the game as well. since there's no fans, they're more essential than ever at the end of the day. So I just feel like, them bringing that energy, but then when they come, I feel like another thing that led to our team win today was the guys that came off the bench. They did a good job of bringing energy and keeping the energy up from the starters. And I just feel like when we can do that, I feel like we can beat a lot of teams. So I just feel like these guys, the freshmen came in, they were confident, but that's because we build confidence in each other day in and day out.
And Coach Otzelberger shares what growth he's seen from his team on this road trip and how fans can expect to see a different Runnin' Rebels team when they return at the Thomas & Mack this week.
Yeah, I mean, it feels like the season's been going on for a month, and, we're only however many days in, and it just feels like this trip. I mean, for me, myself, my twins had their sixth birthday earlier this week, and I wasn't able to be there. So to me, to get back grounded to my normal, just getting back home, getting to the practice court, that's my domain. I think our guys have gotten better on this trip. We've learned something about ourselves. Now we've also got to know that we don't have the margin for error to take a step back. We've got to stick with it, stay every day, practice the way we play, and we preach those daily habits which show up in the games. You can't just turn it on for the game. And I think that's where we were in error for Montana State. It's my job to make sure that doesn't happen again.
And coming up next, Lindy LaRocque did not expect to see the team she played for and coached for so early in her career at UNLV. But hey, anything can happen in 2020, right? The Lady Rebels welcoming the #2 Stanford Cardinals to come play at their house for the time being. Northern California on a lockdown, so the Pac-12 moves into the Thomas & Mack. What? Lindy LaRocque shares how all this went down next.
You're watching the Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show.
So anything can happen in 2020. We've clearly learned that, but some really great things can happen too. Like Lindy LaRocque getting to coach against her alma mater just 3 games into her early career at UNLV, something she never saw coming this season. While Lindy's young Lady Rebels team struggled against Stanford this weekend, finishing the game with 19 turnovers. But the junior guard Nia Johnson was hot from the 3-point line early in this game, hitting 3 balls in the first half. And UNLV came out with more energy in the second half, starting the third quarter with a 13-0 run. They were able to find a little bit more rhythm, but Stanford capitalized on UNLV's 19 turnovers, taking the ball game 101-54. How did Lindy LaRocque's team face the #2 team in the country so early this season? Well, she explains.
It was kind of a crazy, 24, 48 hours there. Tuesday, Wednesday, even when we were playing Fullerton the day of the game, a lot of things had to kind of fall into place. Our Utah Valley game gets canceled. So we're looking for a new game. And then Tara calls me late Tuesday night, like, hey, we'll go anywhere to play a game. Do you want to play? And I'm like, well, ideally, I don't want to play you, but yeah, if it means getting a home game, and really kind of helping them out, to be honest. Tara's done so much for me, and I'm like, well, if I can do this small favor for her and their team to help give them a great place to play here in Las Vegas. We just do such a good job of hosting people here at UNLV in the city. I'm like, well, I know they'll be taken care of here. So, it really kind of happened quickly. Administrators kind of took over communication, figured out the logistics. Obviously, there's a lot of COVID testing, a lot of different moving pieces to it. But here we are today, and it was great to just play, and that's where it's like, okay, we just want to play games. And at this point, it's, do I love playing the #1 team in the country? Honestly, no. But at the same time, we do love it because we played. And that's more than what a lot of other teams are doing right now. And we have game film. We're going to improve from it. And we're going to learn a lot of lessons from this game. So I am very thankful and glad it kind of worked out.
Well, due to a 3-week ban of no-contact sports in the Bay Area right now, Stanford will be calling the Thomas & Mack home for the time being as they tipped off their Pac-12 action against Washington today at the Thomas & Mack. Here's what head coach Tara Vanderveer had to say about moving temporarily to Vegas.
Our team, our team is finished. They're finished with finals, so they'd be in a hotel anyway. So we're just in a hotel in Vegas, and it's a great hotel. Again, Vegas has been exceptional in terms of letting us practice and playing games here and everything. I think once we got here, I think it was kind of just, what are we going to do? And our team's handled it really well. And our coaching staff, this game gets canceled, so you just pick up another game, and thank goodness we could play Lindy's team.
Hey, you can't complain about a trip to Vegas. I don't know anyone who's ever said they didn't have a good trip to Vegas. Well, coming up next, I'll wrap it up with the schedule for the week. What games are on tap for UNLV as the football team wraps up their season and basketball season is just starting to roll.
You're watching the Fox 5 RebZone Sports Show.
Well, we got another busy week ahead of us with UNLV hoops and football. Marcus Arroyo and his 0-5 Rebels will be packing their bags for Hawaii this weekend. Their last chance for a win this season against the 3-4 Rainbow Warriors. Kickoff is set for 8 o'clock this Saturday in Honolulu. The Renan Rebels will be hosting Eastern Washington at the Thomas & Mack on Wednesday night at 6:30. Coach Otzelberger saying he wants his team to come out with more energy this time around at a fanless Thomas & Mack. And the Lady Rebels open up conference play this Saturday when they host Wyoming at the Cox Pavilion at 1:30. They'll face the Cowboys again on Monday at 1:30. Have a safe week, guys. Enjoy all the games. We'll see you right here on the RebZone next Sunday.